Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be going over 5 things I wouldn't do if I was starting out, or 5 things I would do if I was starting out, not wouldn't, the things that I would do if I was starting out to help me grow faster, learn better and faster in my photography. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into, the video. So first off, what's the first thing? First things first is master the basics. Master the basics of photography, and by that I mean master your exposure settings, composition and everything. Everybody keeps on saying it over and over and over, that master the basics, but it's actually true, because the basics are what is going to keep you going for an extended period of time in photography. If you know the basics, you probably would be able to do about 70% of photography. Yeah, you'll be able to, if you understand the basics perfectly, you'll be able to get fine along. Because for instance, if you have not mastered the basics, if a situation came up that you needed a quick fix, you don't need to be googling around to go and figure out what exactly it is you need to do. So mastering the basics helps you in that instance, whereby you are able to look professional in front of your clients and not look like somebody that does not know what you are doing, because you already mastered the basics, which also means knowing your camera in and out. You should know almost every setting on your camera. You should know everything functions, so that you can just in an instant figure out what exactly is wrong and fix it. So that is the first one, mastering the basics. Number 2 is focus on lighting. Focus on lighting, especially if you're a portrait photographer. But that genre of basically photography is lights. It's dealing with lights, it's capturing lights. But make sure if you're someone like that does studio or works essentially with lights, that light is very, very important. It's actually important in all genres of photography, but we just make sure you master and focus on lights and learn how to light properly. If you're a studio photographer, learn it. It's like one thing that makes your images stand out. Once you have your lighting dials down and nailed down, you really do not have a lot more to actually bother about in photography. You just make any subject, almost any subject, actually not all subjects, but you can make almost any subject look good in good lighting. So make sure you master your lighting. Number 3 on the list is leave gear alone. Do not obsess over gear. There's always going to be new releases. You don't need to get the latest and the greatest. You just need to work with what you have, and if you have the funds and capability to afford new ones, get it by all means, but do not always chase after getting the latest and the greatest, because they'll keep on announcing newer camera, newer gadgets. So just work with what you have. For instance, now the C50 got announced yesterday, and yes, I would like to have it, but do I really need it? No. Which is probably going to be the same thing for you. You don't really need most of the gears that are out there. You just need to find one that is specific for you, lens that is okay for you, camera body that works perfectly for you, and it should be good to go for majority of your photography. And if you happen to need something specialized that you would just need it, like in a one-off situation, you can always rent. You don't need to always buy everything. You can always rent. That's why rental houses are there, people that rent gadgets to you. So rent instead of buying and wasting money and everything just piling up and losing value. Rent. Number 4 on the list is do not compare yourself to others. There's that tendency for us to have imposter syndrome and compare ourselves and our work to other people. Well, that's not imposter syndrome, but that one happens. Is that tendency to compare our works to other photographers. But this is the thing, this reality of things. You don't know what the other photographer knows. You don't know where the person has started. You don't know the experience and years the person has gathered. So you don't really need to be comparing yourself, because you do not know how they got to where they are at that moment. So just make sure you focus on building yourself and becoming as good as you can, learn as many things as you can, experiment and practice as much as you can. Make sure you do a lot of that. So organize, maybe you have a lot of tests, you do a lot of test shoots, and you do a lot of test shoots, to improve yourself. So do not compare yourself to others, which brings us to the next one, which is practice. Practice makes perfect. So make sure you practice as much. You don't just learn and just know theory and everything. You need to practice properly. Make sure you go out and shoot. But when I say practice and shoot as much as you possibly can, it doesn't mean you should just shoot blindly. Make sure that you're shooting with intention and purpose. So if you're going to be having a test shoot, make sure that there's a reason, there's something you're hoping to get out from the test shoot. If it is either to work on your lighting, to work on your composition, to work on your posing or editing, just make sure that there's a reason for you doing that test shoot. You don't just shoot because you want to shoot. You can do that at times too, but don't just shoot because you want to shoot. Make sure that there's a reason, there's intentionality behind you shooting that particular image. And then as a bonus one is draw inspiration from other things. You don't just have photography or something. Make sure you have other things that you can draw inspiration, or hobbies that you can go back to when you're feeling burnt out. Photography, you could either be movies, it could be graphic arts, designs, all of that. Just make sure you have something else that catches you, that you're able to like step back from photography and just enjoy aside from photography, because it's something very, very common. Whereby once you go all in photography, chances that like probably there's an high tendency probability for you to want to just like, you know, go all in. But there are times where you get burnt out, and having another avenue is really, really nice and really cool. It really helps to have another avenue for, what's the word? I don't know, but it's really nice to have another avenue. With nothing more to say, well, there's more, but that would probably be in another video. I think that brings us to the end of today's video. I know I've rambled a lot, I've spoken a lot in this video. But these videos are not usually scripted, so you get the rambling part of me. So without anything else to say for this video, there's more. I'll make that one in other videos. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace. I need to go and actually edit. So, but if you stay stuck around for this long, please do well to like and subscribe. I'm trying this new thing out, so subscribe. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.